Like, ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Week 7, the final week of the Titan Divinity League. We have TPO AK versus Monkey Safari, and I'm Tokibi, your main host, and then joining me today is Leslie. How are you doing today?
Good. I am so excited we get into week 7. There are a lot of leagues and a lot of matches that by the time you get to week 7, it doesn't matter and it doesn't really change anything. But that's not what we have tonight. Tonight, we have the number 1 and 2 tied for number 1 in Group A, fighting it out for that first place seeding in playoffs. So this should be a really, really good game all the way across.
Yeah, I mean, this should be just an absolute banger. Both sides 5-1. A little bit of a game differential. Monkey Safari is 11-5, whereas TPO AK is 10-4. So win percent wise, TPO AK are doing slightly better, 71% compared to the 69% of Monkeys, but also one less win. So I guess it depends what you value more overall.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think most of us would say converting that win percentage is probably what we value the most. But you know what? I think either way, you're probably looking good. I will say too, something to keep in mind that the third and fourth place teams, both at 4 and 2, if they win, the loser of this one, they will actually go to tiebreakers to find out who that second seed is going to be. So this is definitely a game that really can dictate the future and how these playoffs end up playing out. So I'm very excited to get in. I think I'm excited to see Frost play for the first time. Personally, he does a lot of content for us here in Titan, and I'm excited to see him in action. And I also think TPOK is they've got a lot of players on there that are making some waves. I think Nightmare and Frost is going to be one of those matchups to watch tonight.
So mid lane, that's where we're going to be having our focus today anyway. But looking between these two teams, do you have anything to say about how you think they should draft for this final best of 3 in the regular season?
Yeah, so of course my main philosophy is of course going to be ease of execution when you think about drafting. I do know that TPOK is a big Nautilus team. They love to draft that champion. It's a very high priority for them. I think Nautilus is one of the better and more easy to execute supports, especially when you leave lane. You're looking about how you're going to fight these team fights. That depth charge being so effective at getting onto these backline carries. But I will say, I think some teams in this league, specifically in Divinity, have really been experimenting with a lot of different things. Shyvana, as we are going to get into draft here, Shyvana seeing some priority. We have seen some double AP bot lanes come out. So yeah, we'll have to see where they go, but I definitely tend to favor that late game scaling, as we are going to see Seraphine banned away, as we were just talking about these double bot lanes. TPOK, definitely one of the teams that has put Seraphine in that carry role. Vera's going to be banned out. Yeah, very neutral 80 carry, not super surprising, as it's been pretty high priority. I don't know about you. I think lethality Varus is just I think it's so much harder to execute right now. I don't know what your thoughts are on Varus, but
I mean, for my thoughts on Varus, because again, this is around the elo that I play at anyway. So I can see it at least the true player perspective of this. Now, obviously, I'm not a competitive player. I can only give kind of the solo queue perspective of it. I do agree. I think lethality Varus is quite hard to play here, but I do think that on hit does work quite well. It does take a little bit longer to get online, obviously, but once you do, you deal so much damage, and if you go the pseudo tank build, you're unkillable. You can stand in the front line, you can get a little bit of poke damage, but I mean, it really depends. Either way, we're not going to be seeing Varus this game, and first pick going to be the Lilia coming out from Monkeys.
Yeah, so they're just trying to get some comfort on just Cooper. I mean, I think that's okay. Lilia really, really good into a lot of these tank junglers that we're seeing. They are going to lock in Viego on R1. That's very interesting. You got to expect some form of heavy CC or high burst damage to follow here. I do know that Frost is kind of a Syndra enjoyer, so maybe they'll take that away, but they are going to lock in Smolder. We did talk about this scaling, these scaling 80 carries, this way to kind of get to that mid and late game with some strength, and that's definitely one of the ways to choose that. Yone. Ooh.
So Yone, yes, but for Smolder, do you think this is going to be the Dante's build?
I think you should never do that, and don't do that, and it's bad, and Dante's, stop trolling people, man. I know you do it for content, but you gotta get away from it. Yone and
that might be...
Hwei.
Yeah, a lot of AP already on Monkeys. Now, where do you think that they're going to be taking this? Do you think this is a bot lane Hwei or a top lane Yone? Because Some interesting first 3 openers right now for Monkeys.
Yeah, I think the beauty of it is they do get some flexibility with those picks. I will say Hui support has really kind of fallen off, as have a lot of like mage type supports. I really do like the Vex here though. It gives you kind of that CC and extra burst damage to help get those resets with Viego, which is definitely something you want in those type of comps. We are going to see the Braum blocked away and the Alistair, so you can expect a little bit more engage from the side of TPOK. I think their coach, they have had some really interesting drafts this split, so I'm kind of excited to see where this goes, but I would expect them to kind of have a little bit more engage. I think, like I said, Nautilus, probably not a bad thing to pick here. As we talked about it, the Nautilus going to come out.
100% Leslie's always right.
Yeah, I think that's a good start. For me, that gives the Hui some interesting value, right? That the fear that you can get off, but I think Hui is still going to be best, in the mid lane. The scaling, that kind of, I don't want to say hyper carry, right? So it's not a midi carry, but that kind of like late game scaling. APC. It could be. I mean, I don't know though. As it's, you know what? You caught me. You got it.
These are my people. This is my yellow. This is what I do.
Yeah, we are going to see Hui PC paired with Leona in the bot side, as we are going to see the traditional Cassante counter. Of course, going into that ultimate, Demacia just doing so much, kind of an instant ultimate, as we will see that counter pick locked in. So I do this with all of my co-casters whenever we look, is, we get to see this and how this draft developed, and, point blank, get rid of the players, look at just the drafts. Who would you give the edge to here?
Oh, you're sending that off to the play-by-play, are you? All right. I think I'd go with TPOK. I think that, again, just due to the ease of execution, kind of like how you talked about, there's a lot of moving parts. Having an AP bot laner with the Leona especially, it gets a little bit more complicated to play because you're kind of zoning on the AP carry, so it makes the engage harder. That's how I always seen this. So slight favor towards MKS, but again, if Wall Street's going to be able to get those stacks this Smolder, should just be able to shred front to back, no problem.
Yeah, I think it's going to be dictated a lot by how this early game plays out. I would definitely favor TPOK. I think you're going to have a winning pushing lane in top. You're going to have a winning pushing lane in mid. You have the potential for a pushing lane in bot. Could be neutral either way. I think early on we'll see, it depends on how fast Smolder can get to 25 stacks. If Smolder can get to 25 stacks before we see that Lost Chapter come out, I think we can maintain some push on the bot side. But otherwise, Lost Chapter is going to give that sustain just enough for Hui to keep the push in bot lane. But in the early game, you think about those first 2 objectives, that first dragon, that first set of grubs, we should have good priority for TPOK to kind of get control over those objectives, and we'll see if they can bait Monkeys into a fight here. But yeah, I'm very excited to see this. I think this is a great game 1 of Fearless. This is a great set of champs to kind of get out of the way. And we'll have to see. Just Cooper and Wall Street, I think, is going to be people to watch here, as well as Frosted Nightmare.
And now here's my question over to you with these 2 drafts. Which lane do you think is going to be the most fun to watch?
Well, it depends on what you find fun. I think personally, bot lane should be fairly entertaining. You have 2 heavy engaged supports. You do have, very heavy scaling 80 carry, and then you have Hui as a champ that I would always define as fun to watch because there's so many options, so many abilities that can be used. I think top is kind of boring, in my opinion, depending on how the lane plays out, but I think Garen just kind of shoves Cassante in, and Cassante just tries to catch the minions under tower, and I think that's where a big part of that lane is going to get to. Mid should be entertaining. I think it's really going to come down to how well can Nightmare manage this passive, right? You can manage this passive very well. It's very difficult for Yon to apply any real pressure. However, you misstep, Soul Unbound comes out, and Yon does not take much to take out this very squishy, mage in the mid lane. So we'll have to see that. I also think the 2v2 in mid jungle heavily favors TPOK. So I think that's going to be some really fun skirmishing for us. So I think we're going to kind of circle back. I think mid lane probably going to be the fun lane for us to watch today.
Yeah, and I mean, even just look at these players, especially for Frost on the Yone. I mean, I think we even saw some of this at MSI where a well-placed Fate Sealed coming out from the Yone can absolutely turn games, can absolutely turn fights. So I think a lot of this game is going to end up coming down to how well Frost plays and how well Frost can be shut down. And I mean, if there's anyone that can do a good job of it, it is Vex, can kind of keep the Yone from approaching with that passive. But I mean, outside of that, it's two executions and resets coming out from TPOK. So if they're able to get those, obviously they're going to be able to just absolutely tear through fights. And with the Smolder Burn going on, especially once we get those 225 stacks, they should be able to get those with the execute, with the extra burn. But if they're not able to get those resets, if they can't reuse the Heartbreaker, if they can't reuse the Vex ult either, they're just not going to be able to fight at all. So, I mean, this is going to be pretty volatile. And I always love volatile games, especially when players decide to just push it to the limit, just keep trying to force fights, and it's my cup of tea. I know it's not the kind of gameplay you like. You told me you like that controlled, that planned gameplay. No, fight. If you have cooldowns, you should be fighting. Doesn't matter. Don't look at the map. You don't need it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I mean, obviously, TPOK really does want to be two objectives first. They don't have the same kind of front line that can access. They do have Nautilus, Garen, not necessarily what I would call real front line versus like Leona, Cassante, but we'll have to see how they get in there. But I think something, you know, that monkeys should really be looking for is this kind of zone control that you can create with Hwei. You'll have to forgive me on the ability name, but her EW, the zone control route, I think has some really, really great pick potential, and I think it doesn't actually get used enough on that champion. So I'm very curious to see kind of what spells take priority. Different players kind of have different thoughts, and we'll have to see how well they can use that zone control. But again, the lack of priority in the early game definitely makes me feel for monkeys here. So I think we'll have to see how well they can navigate that and get to that mid game where they actually have the spikes on those, you know, mid to late game carries in Yone and Hwei.
Yeah, and with that, let's get into it. It's the best of 3, and it is game number 1 between TPO and Monkeys Safari. And right at the start, it seems like they're just going to be sending 5 members straight to the bot lane. So potential little invade coming out of Monkeys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't hate to see this. I mean, I think, they're actually preparing for an invade. They're predicting, thinking that TPO is going to go ahead and get in there and make a play, but TPO just kind of opting for this traditional 5-point, you know, protecting their side of the map, not allowing for any incidental vision. And monkeys just, you know what? I appreciate it. The Nautilus tends to be a heavy invade champ, but you know what? Not gonna play out for him this time.
Yeah, they're just gonna play back, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like TPO are aware of this. They're just doing the standard 5-point defense. So it's just going to be both teams just kind of walking backwards. Both did throw down a defensive ward. There's one on the Raptors for TPOK, and then obviously the one in the Tribush we saw in the bot lane coming out from Monkeys. So 1-for-1 trade with wards. I mean, this is about as even as they can start, but a potential late invade maybe coming out of TPOK, as they do have all 4 players grouping near the mid lane, but again, could just be defensive posturing. Oh no, there they go.
Yeah, interesting. It's very, very late as they are going to go ahead and send Orion on the Smolder back. But nobody losing experience here. I would say it. You need to watch out. The Nautilus here could be missing out on some XP and could definitely dictate the level 2 in that lane.
Yeah, and level 2 gonna be pretty important, especially for monkeys. With Hwei, getting level 2 unlocks a lot of different abilities, so it's a very big deal to get that ASAP. But that's still going to be a stolen Raptor camp, and it's just going to be the Raptors. So Wall Street going to steal away that camp and then walk straight back into their own jungle. As now, Funny Man and Orion, yeah, they're definitely getting pushed back. So first priority definitely going to be coming over to Monkey Safari.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's that delayed on Nautilus. But we do see kind of what we discussed, that priority in mid lane from the Vex, as we do see TPO's bot lane just going to go ahead and catch this wave. Huge, heavy trading in mid from Nightmare. Already have Frost down to half HP. And I think that's just kind of how this lane goes. Of course, Frost going for that Doran's fleet footwork and likely to have Absorb Life on as well, just giving him as much sustain as possible. A couple of free stacks there with the breath here. A little bit of sneezing from Smolder, as we say. But top lane looks like Gav Dougie Fresh is going to go ahead and accept this wave, maybe protecting himself from a potential gank. Not sure where the other jungler started 100%. Although we do see that red ward now, so they should understand. As we see a little bit of a skirmish.
Junglers, they are going to be grouping together. The smite did go down for Wall Street. Actually going to go with the flash as well, trying to get that stun. Nightmare starting to follow up as well. The fear is not available, and just Cooper forced to flash away. And the flash is going to get followed by Nightmare, and just enough range. That's going to be first blood going over to TPO. And Nightmare with the blue buff going to be even stronger. But now in the bot lane, even more trading. Orion starting to get low. Nanites and Mac Mittens trying to find it, but Orion going to be able to flash away. Mac Mittens going to follow with the flashless snipe. Not going to be coming out. So fighting all over the place, and that's exactly what I wanted.
Absolutely. As we see, just like taking the Raptors camp and maybe just a little bit of a late realization from Cooper. So kind of getting back to those late, as we do see Wall Street ganking again.
To the top side. Glub Tuppus Sweppel trying to back away. Has the extra dash, will not get stunned. Will be able to just use that Unbreakable. Will use that Pathmaker just to get out. But that's still going to be Ghost Burn. So they could look for a regank later on.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Kasate, definitely a more difficult champion to game. That Pathmaker W, just, you know, delaying CC. Although we do see GavDuggy Fresh, I mean, could potentially be looking to set up a freeze here, taking some heavy trades back. As Nightmare continuing to trade heavy on Frost in the mid lane, both yet to recall.
I think that's good for Frost, though, isn't it? Because the money hasn't been spent yet. And even with Nightmare's blue buff, just is still able to out-sustain the damage, is still able to reach CS. They're tied in CS, so I think Frost is pretty okay with the way things are going, although missing that cannon's definitely going to suck.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the blue buff makes a huge difference here. Not having that blue buff, I think, would have made this much different for Nightmare. Of course, Frost having a no mana champ. But it looks like he's just going to go ahead and take this reset here as Nightmare is going to shove. He is going to cancel his back, actually. We check on the minimap there.
Yeah, but Funny Man walking forward. Not going to go for any dredge line quite yet, but I'm just going to take a moment to look over at these CS differences right now, because Nanites in the bot lane is out farming Orion by a ton, and the wave is favoring them as well. So there's going to be even more CS to get caught up, as Frost just going to trade a little bit with Nightmare. I don't think either of them can really all in, or at the very least, Frost definitely cannot all in until that level 6 is up.
Yeah, they need to be careful here, not having the vision, understanding that Lilia should be bot side here. But of course, like you said, that trade, as we are going to see something happen.
Yeah, they're looking for the Funny Man. Gonna get the Zenith Blade, but yeah, they're just gonna go for the knowledge, but the damage just isn't there. They don't have the range, they don't have the follow-up, but they're just gonna continue zoning Orion away, and I think that might even be their goal. There's no camps up for just Cooper anyway, so may as well keep putting Orion further and further behind.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely like that, just trying to put the scaling 80 carry on the back foot. And I think that heavy trade earlier, just, while they may have ended up okay on the trade, like you said, that CS deficit is really, really starting to show.
45 to 26 now, and then they're gonna return. The Funny Man is gonna get stunned up and is taking a lot of damage, and this time it looks like they want to go for it, and Nanites gonna be able to get the first kill of the game for Monkeys as they're able to take down the support. And again, the Funny Man's the one that goes down, but Orion's really the one that's suffering down here.
Yeah, absolutely. Opting not to blow that flash. Maybe you're just thinking the follow-up from Leona is too much, but this is where mid lane gets very, very interesting, and that passive management becomes all the more powerful and important, because Frost access to the, you know, this ultimate in the Fate Seal just gives him so much more threat in this lane. So if you mismanage that passive, it definitely can go south for Nightmare very quickly.
And right now we're even seeing that. I mean, typically whenever it's that ranged versus melee matchup, as Ryan takes a lot of poke, the melee will always be a little bit behind in CS early on. Once a couple items come through, once a couple levels are gained, then the melee starts catching up. But Frost really didn't fall that far behind. Only 3 CS down. And that's with Nightmare getting first blood and the blue buff early on. So Frost is doing really well with this matchup right now. And definitely feeling good. But now the Funny Man might be getting caught out here. And the flash is going to get used. But so is the Fate Sealed. Not going to be able to follow. Funny Man will just be able to use that dredge line to get back to safety. But that's still going to be a summoner use. This Nightmare maybe standing a little bit too far up. Mac Mittens. Neither one's gonna really be going on each other, but they're always just sitting in that engage range, but neither one really wants to pull the trigger there.
Yeah, this game's been interesting. Wall Street actually had great tempo early on when they were able to kill just Cooper, but he's kind of spent a lot of time doing nothing, and I think at a cost, right? We see just Cooper able to, once they start to clear these camps, we'll actually gain back that CS deficit, and then also like they've had better tempo on the map as we see Shadow Surge not quite have any effect there, but it is going to get Nightmare full control in this lane at the moment.
Yeah, and maybe Nightmare might want to reset soon, as another bit of poke just going back. Frost taking a decent amount of spells, but the damage just isn't there to follow up with it. Now Gov Dougie fresh, and they're gonna be using the Lilting Lullaby, looking for the burst damage, but Garen is very difficult to take down. Will force the flash at the very least, but that is also going to be the ghost used by Glub Tuppaswapple. So a trade of summoners, but the ghost does have a shorter cooldown.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I just, Wall Street opting to try to maintain the CS lead. And it does look like with Funny Man up here, they are going to look to make a play for Grub. Should be fairly uncontested with Mac Mittens still on the bot side.
Yeah, and for Orion, that means even more CS going to be lost. But, I mean, at this point, the Funny Man isn't really helping Orion all that much anyway by sitting in that bot lane. So may as well support your jungler and take those grubs. At least have an objective grouping up. Make sure the other team doesn't have grubs. Even just denying it is big on its own. But they have a lot of priority over in the mid lane as Frost just taking another big chunk of burst damage. And it's only going to get worse. I mean, look at that. Those Miserable are just consistently landing, and Frost goes in. We'll use the shield, but once Shadow Surge is back up, Frost is definitely within lethal range.
Absolutely. I think Nightmare doing a great job here. They have access to Lost Chapter, putting pressure on this tower and really trying to, create a lead in that mid lane. Look at about 10 CS right now.
Level 6 up for Mac Mittens. They are going to be looking towards Orion. The cleanse is going to come through, and it will be traded for the Solar Flare. But now the Dredge line, Orion wants to fight, but Just Cooper is in the area. Mom going to come out over top, but Orion's the one that takes the most damage, even before Just Cooper was able to join the fight. So again, just this bot lane, it's just so hard to play. I feel so bad for this little baby dragon, but maybe in 15, 20 minutes, you can start playing the game again.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we said, you get to that Lost Chapter, and he's just got so much more sustain and ability to clear those waves as something's happening.
Is going to get used, but Wall Street is in the area. Nanites was exhausted, not going to be able to deal too much damage. But now another Dredge line, and Mac Mittens will flash away, and now they're going to take Mac Mittens. Nanites is trying to get away. Flash has already been used, but now the stolen Zenith Blade going to be coming out, and Heartbreaker from Wall Street to get that kill. It's going to be 2 for nothing, but they're both very low. Everyone is on the bot lane. Just Cooper going to be able to take the Funny Man. Wall Street still trying to get away. Frost in the area as well. And it's going to be a double kill traded back for Just Cooper. And Frost still looking for the backline. Leave the poor dragon alone. What did Orion ever do to you?
Oh my gosh. Great pickup. Great ability to apply pressure and play aggressive there. I mean, Just Cooper and Frost picking up three total, very, very important kills here early on. And really, TPO not able to get much back here.
Yeah, Nightmare is going to be the next target as well. Doesn't have that pass available quite yet. Lilting Lullaby is going to get used, and Frost, more than enough damage on that soul unbound snapback. As Gavtegi Fresh was trying to get a little proxy going, but with Mac Mittens in the area, he's not able to do that as well, and could be the next target. Just Cooper doesn't have a lot of mana, doesn't have blue buff either, but they're going to get this smite as Gavtegi Fresh spin to win over top, but now Solar Flare is here. They're gonna get the Shield of Daybreak, and you're just not able to move. Gav Dougie Fresh going to be going down as well, as Monkeys are really starting to come out ahead here.
Yeah, just a couple of little skirmishes back to back to back. We're now looking at a 1,000 gold lead. Of course, some of the CS differences still in favor of TPO, but, huge pickups for them. And maybe just some not quite sure or what, Gav Dougie Fresh's thoughts were there, getting a little bit caught out. Of course, Mac Mittens on a great timer to be able to rotate to that. But it does look like TPO is going to try to pick up this bot lane.
Frost, Shadow Surge is there. Do they have the cooldowns? Just needs one more, but not going to be able to do it. Nightmare taking a lot of damage underneath that turret as well. But Frost is 3-0, so removing Frost off the map, Wall Street should be able to just secure this dragon. So that priority at least gives something, but no kills yet.
Yeah, I mean, the upside here is if your TPO is like Frost, Nightmare is still in a good spot. Like he's still, he's slightly behind now, but he's still scaling well. He's got that first item. You can see him building You know, the Ludens here just really force out that initial burst damage, looking to get those resets. We also see Wall Street. Oh,
they're looking for more. The fighting man. Oh no, we are going to be going back. So let's see how this first kill happened, and then we all get to share in the joy of watching the follow up. Bananites just seeing Orion. Yeah, perfect position. Orion just goes a little bit too far, just gonna get chomped,
man.
and we'll go down. And now the fighting man could be the next target. Spiral Displayer is available, and it is gonna go wide. Unfortunately, Nanites. But with the Solar Flare, Nanites just still waiting for a few more cooldowns and won't be able to have them. They will be able to force out the flash and just one little snipe. That's all that's needed. Not going to be able to guess correctly, but they're still going. Just Cooper and Mac Middens looking for the Swirl Seed. Not going to be able to find it, but that's still a kill for Nanites, and that's going to be a few plates as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's just a little bit of a lack of respect from TPO, not thinking about them being in that bush. I will say, if you're TPO, though, you really got to look as Nightmare on Wall Street to really focus your energy on nanites in some of these fights. You know, as an immobile mage, having the ability to get on and get those resets and kind of start that chain in those team fights is going to be key. Just Cooper, another potential target, but obviously the Lilia a little more difficult to hit. As we see, Captain Heat Fresh. Again, 21 CS up. That's kind of how this matchup goes, unfortunately. Very, very Garen favored. But we may have another little skirmish here in the mid lane.
Yeah, Nightmare's gonna be able to just clear this out. Neither side really wants to go in and start this fight, but Nightmare might be fishing for it a little bit. Gonna interrupt Frost's recall. Oh, there was war there. Okay, we had the vision toggle. So that's why they didn't know, but no. Again, Frost now gonna be going in a little bit. It's gonna get feared back. Mac Mittens is in the area, so Frost could play a bit more aggressive. But instead, they're just going to fall back, and Wall Street going to steal away the Gromp, but that's really all we're going to get from that exchange.
Yeah, I my own personal opinion, I think there's a lot of invading. There's way too much invading, I think, in this game. I think you just, like, clear your camps and stay consistent.
Just Cooper could be walking into Wall Street, will get stunned up, and now the Shadow Surge over top. Just Cooper gonna get shut down, but Fate sealed onto 3. But Frost, that's onto 3. You're 1v3 and will go down. Just Cooper gets another shutdown there as well, and the gold lead's all but gone, and the Herald gonna be the target coming out of TPOK.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what we were talking about.
Orion, the dragon is up. Solar Flare is going to be there with the Root and Nanites. He's just a baby. Leave him alone.
Yeah, Orion being absolutely bullied. Of course, Wall Street and Nightmare making plays across the map. You know, we talked about this, getting that Shadow Surge and those resets set up, as they are going to get first power as well. Going to be a great start for those feats of warfare as they do have those upgraded boots.
Yeah, I mean, those upgrade boots are definitely going to help them quite a lot, too. And we're even seeing in the top side, I mean, this game has so far delivered quite a bit. This is a very close game. 1K the difference going in favor of Monkeys, but with the feats, that should be about evened out. I think it maybe even slightly towards TPOK, but neither side's really been able to get an advantage yet. And having said that, who do you think is favored by this close game? Do you think Orion will be able to come back in the late game, or do you think the fact that Frost is 3-1-0. Do you think that's going to be like the big thing with this game?
So I think this game is going to be dictated on TPO's ability to shut down this way. Yeah, Frost is in a good position, but I don't think that is going to be as impactful as if they can get this way slowed down just a little bit. You know, like I said, Orion is going to get there. You know, they should be moving him around. He's in the mid lane now. Should be looking for those chickens.
Lilting Lullaby going to be coming out, and the passive just was not there. Fate sealed, and Nightmare actually going to flash away, is still alive, and will go down to the final little bit of damage. That's so unfortunate. That was such a good flash, too, but now Nanites could be looking towards Orion as well. Will get the chomp. And Solar Flare just slightly going to be wide, but in the meanwhile, Wall Street getting jumped on by 2. Heartbreaker over top, but Frost will follow with the flash and get the kill. So it's going to be 2 kills going over to Monkeys.
Yeah, I just don't know why you're there as Wall Street. Like, you see him get picked. You understand you don't have any priority.
Going in, going onto the dragon. Swirl Seed is going to land. Watch it burn. Orion not going to get sniped down a little bit more, but they lock it. Going to be coming out from the funny man. Will survive for now, but that's still tier 1 mid going down. TP also coming in from Nightmare now. They do see it. And they're not going to follow.
Oh, huge damage already. Like I said, I think getting Nanites slowed down a little bit is going to be key in this game, but not able to do it so far.
Yeah, I mean, right now in the top side, we actually saw at least the aftermath of that trade, but Glub Tuppus Weapel is very far ahead in that, and Gavdagi Fresh did have to burn Flash is super low underneath the turret. All out was used. But now the next dragon has been started up. Herald spawned in the mid lane by Walsh. You're trying to get a little bit of extra priority. TP got to be coming out from Gav Dougie Fresh as well. Is half HP, does not have flash, but still has the ultimate. Nanites is going to get targeted down, and they're looking for this way. They're not going to be able to get it, but they do have the dragon so far. But look at that, the spiral on everyone. Nanites has so much damage. Triple kill going to this way, and they're able to live to tell the tale. Huge team fight going over towards TPOK.
Yeah, like we talked about, just not quite enough damage to get Nanites to down. The fight looked so good for TPO, but the flash away, the spiraling despair doing so much damage, as you said. And, Monkeys cleans up the team fight. I mean, beautiful so far. Beautiful play by them.
But Nightmare did get a kill, and they did secure the dragon. So do you think it's worth it?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The dragon's great. Thanks for the kill, but you lose so much pressure on the map. Obviously, that's so much more gold going over to Nanite. You lose your mid tower, and that TP away gives Glub Tuppus like so much pressure on this top tower as well. Definitely not worth it for TPO. I think they're kicking themselves on this one.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing to talk about. That was a 4v5. That they were still able to just handedly win on the side of Monkeys. Yeah, let's just take a look over at the gold now. About a 700 gold lead for just Cooper. I mean, mid lane only about 500
bot
as well.
Lane, though.
I mean, what the enemy support has about the same gold as the ADK, that's not a good sign typically. That's not what you want to have on your team.
No, I don't know if we can get a look at stacks on Smolder too, but I can't imagine he's close to 100 yet.
Actually, 111's not
111.
as bad.
Okay, yeah, considering all that's happened.
Going.
Yeah, I'm genuinely a little surprised. I would have expected it to be slightly worse than that. Shout out to him, but he's still a long way off from being impactful in this game.
Yeah, but we can start having a little bit of hopium for Orion. Just getting bullied the whole game. Maybe it's going to be the huge hero comeback story just in the end, able to burn everyone down. And I got to say, though, to TPO's credit, they are doing a good job of making sure that Orion, at the very least, is able to farm up now. It's still a 60 CS lead for Nanites, but I think most of that happened during the lane phase. After that, Orion's been given the chances to catch up a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I think ultimately this game is still going to go down to, can we get Nanites picked off in these fights? And unfortunately,
they tried
with the way this last one goes. But, still about 2.5 minutes left on his flash. I think that's going to be a big timer to pay attention to as things go on. But of course,
yeah, Frost with the Fate Sealed, gonna be looking towards Nightmare. And this is very difficult for Nightmare. Way too much damage coming out of Frost. Barely
he
takes
missed
any
the
return.
passive. Yeah, he did it during the Fate Sealed animation, so it wasn't able to do anything. He needs to wait until that animation is done to fear him away. And unfortunately, just like mistiming that passive, and Frost able to free fire on him. Not much to do there.
Yeah, and I mean Frost 6-1 and 5 as well. We've been talking about Nanites. As actually they got the Otacon during that, just casually walking in, grabbing it for the side of Monkeys. That's going to be a pretty big buff for them as well. Just even more stats, even more damage just going towards Monkeys. 5.5k gold lead. What do you think TPO need to do now to try and come back in this game? Is there anything they can do proactively?
I mean, try to control vision and look for picks. You do still have all the tools. You have Depth Charge, you have Shadow Surge, you have, Demacian Justice.
And we have a pause.
But still, you have these options to get one target dead, right? Which is what you want to do to reset Shadow Surge, to reset Heartbreaker, and start to try to make plays. I think ultimately, if you're Orion here, your job is like, I'm going to try to do what I can and get stacks in fights. Because realistically, not a whole lot. If he can eat a couple of ultimates, he's probably doing his job in those fights. Yeah, I guess we'll take a minute here and see what this pause is going to be about, as nothing super crazy going on the map right now.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's not going to be too long a pause. And I believe the way it works with Spectator, though, is this pause technically happened 3 minutes into the future, because we do have that 3-minute delay. So this will be at around the 24 minute and 40 second mark. So it could be interesting to see what happened during that pause. Maybe we'll be able to spot it out later on, but so far it does seem like the teams are there. If we get any kind of updates from that, we'll be sure to let you know. But interesting play could potentially be starting topside. It is onto the Cassante. And do you think Dougie Fresh with Wall Street, do you think there's any hope at all to get a dive? Maybe with Orion rotating over as well?
I think that's a really, 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 really bad call. Unfortunately, as you see me lounging in my chair. No, I think that's
Apex
unfortunately
casting position.
like not a great call. The Cassante just like too much, ability. This is his W that stops the stuns and moves him forward, and the all out that gives him some repositioning. He doesn't have flash, but he's also on almost two items tanky wise. Like, I think unfortunately it's just like not the play that you want to go for. You want to be looking for a Frost on Yone. You want to be looking for nanites. You want to be looking for just Cooper and trying to catch them out in the jungle. I think those are going to be much better options either way. So let's hope that they don't jump on this Cassante when we get back into the game.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's always difficult to take down to Cassante, and we've seen Cassantes do fine in 3v1s without the help of a turret. When you have the turret there as well, and like you said, perfect item spike, has the Iceburn Gauntlet, has the fully completed Thornmail, and everyone there, even if the Smolder does end up showing up, they're all auto attack based. I mean, they're just not going to be able to deal that much damage. I genuinely think Asante could take all three and still live, and probably over half HP as well. As we are going to be seeing a little bit of a replay, and yeah, this is just Nightmare getting bullied by Frost, and yeah, the fear just was not at the right time.
Yeah, you're at a stage now where it's actually very difficult for the Vex to play through, especially with that shield mode proc. Not able to do quite enough burst damage in the time that it would take to be killed back, especially when that fear is mismanaged. So I really think you need to be looking to use that in conjunction with Wall Street, in conjunction with Heartbreaker, and really trying to get those resets and get that Viego to kind of like take over a team fight. Of course, we do see.
Well, we are hearing that it may still take a little while before we're able to get back into the game, a little bit of an elongated pause. So for now, we are just going to cut over to a short break, but when we come back, we will be headed right back into the game. So don't go anywhere. Stay glued to your seats, and we'll be back soon. So we are back at the caster screen first, but don't worry, we are going to be heading right back into the game. The pause should be getting finished off soon, and there we go. We're right back into it. So right now, it doesn't seem like they did end up going for the dive on the top side. Both teams
Thank
just
God.
kind of farming it up for now. But 22 minutes in, dragon number 3 is going to be spawning, and monkeys do have a solid lead, but they only have the one dragon, so Soul may not end up being one of the win conditions for them, but they are going to retake this bot side jungle.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, we'll have to see here, getting that vision set up for TPO is going to be very important. Of course, Monkey's absolutely dominating the vision game right now. I think we'll have to see if TPO can have the restraint to not like face check all this fog of war and try to make plays, getting waves pushed out before they fight for vision. But we'll have to see. I mean, Orion above 125, trying to make something happen here. Of course, in trouble.
Oh, yeah, they're looking over to the Funny Man. The Funny Man gonna use the flash, and now Fate Sealed into the back line. And Frost actually gets taken down decently low. And now Shadow Surge over top, but Lilting Lullaby prevents the follow-up, which I think is for the best. Nightmare may not have been able to survive, but now TP going to be coming out from Gav, Dougie Fresh, looking for nanites. They have the fear, but Spiraling Despair onto Nightmare will get taken down. But now in the meanwhile, the Garen is spinning to win, but will not be able to win out on top. It's 3-0 so far. Wall Street starting to get low, looking for the Heartbreaker, not going to be able to find it. Orion flapping away, but Frost is running. Will you use the flash? It may not even matter. Frost still chasing. Nanites just going to get the final hit, and it's an ace going to Monkey Safari.
Yeah, Demacian just is not even used. Not even a last minute I'm about to die usage. So it's definitely something weird there as I see you're trying to get that reset for Wall Street, but Wall Street not really being able to effectively join the fight. And like you said, clean ace for the side of Monkey Safari. And with that should pretty much close up this game. It's going to be very tough for TPO to make any inroads back into this game.
Yeah, I mean, after that, it's an 8K gold lead. Mid tier 2 almost down. It's down in spirit. They're not going to be able to get the gold for it, but it is effectively off the map, as actually Glove just going to be able to finish that off. So that's 2 tier 2s and a 5-0 ace and a dragon just from that one fight. And maybe they could even look for more. The Pathmaker is going to be able to buffer out the dredge line, but yeah, they're not even able to jump into the Cassante, who kind of overstayed a little bit, but I say that with a current gold lead, I don't even think that is punishable.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to be very, very tough to make that happen. As you see, even taking this crab takes quite a little bit of time. So we'll have to see if they can make it happen. But it's going to be a struggle here. I mean, we see, of course, Wall Street opting for the Collector second. He did build Trinity Force, so it gives him a little bit of some amount of survivability, but that Collector not doing him any favors. You'll see a lot in the higher level Viego players building the shield though actually second, especially in games like this where you lack a real true front line outside of the Nautilus, just to give you that extra survivability so that you can get those resets. But we'll have to see if we can make something happen here. But Orion, do we have a stack count on this Smolder? I can't imagine it's going to matter even at this stage getting to 225, but maybe there's some hope there if Orion can just get there.
And Orion has been able to hit the waves in the mid lane, actually starting to close the CS gap just a little bit. Was down 70 before, now only down 50, which I say that in a positive manner, but you are still down 50. But 179 actually starting to get quite close to that execute, but I don't think they've even got anyone close enough to that 5% mark, though. As almost getting burst down, and Fate Sealed wasn't even used. Frost just trying to save that ultimate. Doesn't think Gav Dougie Fresh is worth his time.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the Cassante way too tanky for Wall Street to even really engage with, as we see here, just not able to make anything happen on the other side of the map.
Yeah, but Baron has been started, and maybe this is where they could look for it. The Shadow Surge is going to be there, and Nightmare going straight in, trying to push Just Cooper away. That would be the smite. Fate Sealed not going to hit onto anyone. Mom going out over top. Just Cooper starting to get decently low. This isn't that bad coming out for TPO. At least not to start. Wall Street goes in a little bit deep. Lilting Lullaby over the top. Just a little bit too far in, and that's where everything's going to turn the other way. The Funny Man, last survivor, all out, coming out from Glove Tup's Weapon. Frost is going to be the one to secure the kill. Now Mac Mittens, Xander's Blade over top, able to find onto Orion, but Demacian Justice will get one. The support is gone, but so is Gav Dougie Fresh. A 4-for-1 for Monkeys, and now they can come back and take the Baron.
Yeah, look at about a 10K gold lead. Wall Street just kind of like overextending to try to force that reset, not able to get it. Nightmare actually really kind of playing his lights out there to try to make something happen for the team, but not going to be enough. And with this Baron, you got to imagine Monkey will start to march down and take this base out.
I mean, Nightmare almost takes out Just Cooper, and if that did reset the Shadow Surge, there is a world where TPO could have actually had something happen there, but just barely not enough damage. It is just that gold lead making such a big difference right now for Monkey Safari, as the tier 1 top just going down. I think this is the first time I've ever seen the tier 1 top tower go down after the Baron take.
Yeah, definitely very, very late on that. As we see, of course, you know, Monkey's tier 1 top tower almost not damaged at all. That early lead from the Garen just completely washed away and not effective in any way at this stage. And honestly, like when you look at it, you know, you look at the kill participation, Cassante, like Glove Tipples Wobbles just kind of like existed, put a little pressure in his lane and really just kind of allowed his team to kind of run this 4v4.
Yeah, but now Mac Midden's gonna get stunned up, but Nanites is here. Solar Flare over top, and Heartbreaker used to escape, but the Spiraling Despair will be there. And Nanites is unstoppable, just able to pick off Wall Street. And I think at this point, TPOK, they're just throwing stuff at the wall, just trying to see if anything will stick at all, but just not working out for them right now.
Yeah, very desperate play there. I think there's definitely... I mean, there's definitely better options, but I definitely understand. I mean, being down this much gold at this stage, almost 12K, a little over 12K, excuse me, absolutely rough. And you know, no matter how hard you play or how well you play as TPOK here, it's gonna be a tough ask for anybody to try to come back from this.
Yeah, but Nanites actually gonna be the one hooked, but no follow-up is available. Gav Dougie Fresh coming out from behind, Mom over top, and look at all those abilities getting thrown, and look at the HP bars just not moving on the side of Monkeys. They're all so tanky. They're all so far ahead. And Gav Dougie Fresh is going to be forced to flash over the wall. I like the angle, but again, just the gold is not there right now. As Fate Sealed looking for the Funny Man, going to be forced to flash away. Frost still going to deal a lot of damage over to this Nautilus. As Lilting Lullaby is going to land on Just Cooper. And they're going to use the depth charge just to let Orion get back out to safety. But now they're looking for the Nexus. It looks like they just want to try another game. They know that they're stronger now. And Nightmare dealing quite a bit of damage to the backline. But again, no follow-up. Frost, in the meanwhile, takes down the Funny Man. And now the stacks are there, but Orion is not. Orion is alive for now, but again, no one else is there to fight. The minions are slowly getting killed off. I think that Gav Dougie Fresh has been trying to kill them from the backline, as now the Mountain Drake is going to go down. That is 3 dragons. If they're able to survive here, could it be too bad? Damascene Justice not going to do anything. And now Frost goes in, is starting to get quite low. Wall Street has the Heartbreaker, but does not have the angle yet. They are surviving. They are taking them low, but they're not able to take anyone down yet. It's still 2-0. Frost is low, but does have the TP. Could just go back into this. They could continue trying to end the game, but the Baron buff has now expired. So if they want to continue doing this, they're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. But TP from Frost going to be coming in now towards the bot side. All the cooldowns are starting to come back up. A Nightmare takes so much damage just off of Nanites. Looking for the snipe, not going to be able to find it as Mom goes out over top. Fate Sealed not going to land onto anyone, but Frost just going to get taken down. As now Orion's trying to get the burn onto everyone, but the damage still isn't there. Lilting Lullaby on everyone. Wall Street goes down. Everyone goes down. Orion is the final survivor. Gav Dougie Fresh is now back into the fight, but Spiraling Despair over top and accidentally kills Orion in the backline. It's an ace, a clean 5-0, and it's game number 1 going to Monkey Safari.
Yeah, absolutely dominant performance there at the end. It almost looked like a potential base defense there at the end, but too much money. Nightmare played his heart out in a couple of those fights, just unable to make it happen. And Monkey Safari led there really by Nanites and Frost, just making so many wonderful plays across the map. Just really kind of like destroying that gold lead and putting the game away for TPOK, just not able to kind of fight back there. As we do see Frost and Nanites, their damage on the game really telling the story of how this game went. I think that domination in the mid lane and then Frost just coming unlocked in that skirmish, getting those kills. and really kind of running away from the game, with the game, from there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the entire game just kind of ended at that, I believe it was the second dragon fight, where they were jumping onto nanites. They got nanites pretty low, but they weren't able to finish it off. And then the spiral of despair, just in that 4v5, just pops on top of everyone. We play League of Legends. We slog through solo queue. We hate ourselves for like 50, 60 games to get that one moment that nanites found in that competitive game. Like, this is what League of Legends is for. This is what it's about, and that's what we look for. So, I mean, they gotta be happy after that.
Yeah, somebody better clip that. I'm just saying, we better see that in a highlight reel somewhere at the end of the season. I'm just throwing that out there. So, all right. I always like to ask this too at the end of games. If you had to give an MVP for this game, can only be one, who would you give it to?
I mean, it has to be Frost, I think. I mean, nanites and Mac Mittens, they won bot lane pretty hard, and obviously there was that big flashy play. But Frost has been getting advantages across all sides of the map, basically at all moments. Just able to find Nightmare a couple times, able to zone out Wall Street. And then, I mean, the baby dragon wasn't a character at all that entire game, basically. Like, Smolder just never got the chance to play. I mean, nanites is a close second. Same. Everyone played well. Even Glub, Toughest Weapon, just kind of AFK in the top lane, making sure to shove waves. Like, everyone did their jobs. It's always hard to find an MVP in games like this,
I will say, I think I tend to agree with you, leaning towards Frost. Just the like, obviously most damage, most gold, highest CS, only level 18 in the game. In what is a poor matchup pre-6. As we saw, he did a great job navigating that early game and not, giving anything away and really trying to keep up in that CS. And I think he played that game very well. So we'll have to see what happens, when we get into game 2. What is TPO going to do to adjust? And are we going to see them battle back, or is this going to be a quick series tonight?
Yeah, well, we're going to find out pretty soon. But for now, we are going to go to a short break. But when we come back, we'll be headed right into the draft. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon. Welcome back, and we are here and about to head into game number 2 between TPO AK and Monkey's Safari. So, Monkey Safari leading 1-0. Leslie, what do you think TPO need to do to try and get us to a game number 3?
So, I mean, I didn't hate their draft. I think, as we discussed in game one, I think there was definitely some poor execution. I think Wall Street, I need to see him maybe playing a little bit more of a what I would call a consistent style of League of Legends. I think there was a lot of invading. There was a lot of like fishing for plays, maybe trying to force plays to happen instead of kind of like letting things happen naturally. And that caused a lot of wasted time, which allowed tempo, especially in that early game for that early dragon, that so much time that Just Cooper spent on this bot side zoning Orion off waves and then getting the kill on Funny. And like Wall Street got nothing out of that whole time, right? So like I think kind of adjusting your play style to that. And of course we do swap sides here, so we will see what priority TPOK puts on this B1 pick, what they think is going to be the strongest pick. We do see some different bans. The Seraphine has been lifted so far. We also see Poppy and Amumu being banned. Seraphine going to be picked up. Yeah, kind of a figured, but now that blue side, we'll also see what Monkey's kind of prio is. Hey, this is what's important to us. Of course, as always, guys, this is Fearless. So we will see at the bottom of our screen, we do see those champs that have already been played and cannot be picked again. Braum, a nice pickup, so you can tell that they do want to play that heavy engage. Really kind of getting rid of those things as Poppy and Braum both kind of shutters down here. Then yeah, we'll have to see what they pick B1.
Yeah, what I'm noticing right now is Varus has gone through. Last time it
J4.
was a pretty early ban. But yeah, J4. I mean, J4 is about as good a jungle as you can get. Is very good in the early game, able to set up plays.
Yeah.
Does fall off a little bit in the end, but you get exactly what you kind of pay for there. But Varus is going to be the first pick, and we got a Monkey Safari. So I'm curious what build it's going to be. I mean, most likely, like you said earlier, when we were talking about the game 1 draft, when we were talking about Varus getting banned, it is usually the lethality, but never mind. Let's talk about the Volibear instead, because that's a much more interesting pick in my opinion.
Yeah, so likely Volibear jungle, but of course it could be Volibear top. There's some flex there. Obviously, in the 1v1, you're going to struggle as Jarvan, right? But as Jarvan, your goal is you never want to fight. You don't want to skirmish, without your team there. Of course, we are seeing TPOK look for that kind of Wombo team fight style. They are going to pick up the Orianna Shockwave mixed with Cataclysm, mixed with the bullet time from MF. So this is kind of a Wombo combo. Try to win these team fights and make plays with this Jarvan. Definitely, you think of the way they drafted, there's going to be some comfort there. Of course, Frost, I believe Syndra is his #1 mastery. Of course, that is a big range advantage there that you're going to get onto Nightmare as the game progresses. As you get those splinters, you unlock your second Q and things like that. I like TPOK, but I want to make sure, and we'll have to see how it goes here, but I want to make sure that they don't just completely sacrifice all ability in their lanes to play the early game just to get that Wombo combo that they like. So we'll have to see. Of course, we see Ornn and Rumble being banned away from Dougie Fresh. The Alistar, again, another one of those like anti-engage champs, and the Rel, really kind of pinching that support pool and limiting the options that they're going to have into this. I will say Melio is still up. Melio on hit Varus, definitely a playable comp. As we are going to see Karma come out, though. I think that's just some preference for Mac Mittens. Of course, Monkeys, the team that plays Karma, Seraphine, support, bot lane. Obviously, Nanites, no issues playing those bot lane supports. AP carries. I apologize. We are going to see the Nami picked up in. Again, a little bit more of a Wombo, the Tidal Wave. Another thing that can kind of go over Cataclysm and help time with bullet time. I think the Urgot, very interesting pick, especially kind of blinding it here. So we'll have to see what Monkeys decides they want to throw into this. Ironically enough, the Volibear, not a terrible matchup. They are just going to land on the Malphite. Really something to pay attention to, with this Malphite Syndra Varus. The ability to delete one target is very, very high on the side of Monkey. I think if you're Dougie Fresh, you've really got to itemize yourself kind of like Sundered Sky first into full tank. I think if you go Eclipse here as Wall Street, you're going to struggle in these team fights as we get into the mid and late game. Frost and the Malphite there are going to have the ability to kind of one-shot you. Of course, Chains of Corruption also going to contribute to that. So we'll have to see kind of how these things play out. I think, again, the lane to watch is going to be mid lane. That Ori Shockwave being ahead, the Syndra being ahead, and those orbs just doing so much damage, and the ability to do that damage from, almost off screen and get that stun, I think got to be crucial here. So we'll have to see how it plays out. I like the thought here from TPOK. I do really like that kind of, like I said, wombo combo team fight style. But I think MKS, I think if they can execute it correctly, I think they've got a good shot of cleaning this one up again.
One thing I'm a bit concerned about for TPOK is kind of like you said, the range advantage that MKS have. The Karma with those Mantra Q is going to be able to deal a ton of damage. Frost going to be able to delete them off screen. And I assume Nanites is probably going to end up going Lethality, because I think Lethality is really good this game. They do have a little bit of healing coming out from the Nami, and then Bloodthirster's probably going to get picked up on this MF. But there's no true tank on the side of TPOK. So usually that's kind of the trade-off by going with the Lethality build. You're not able to deal with true tanks quite as well, but Urgot is going to be going pseudo bruiser build. I mean, Jarvan usually goes pseudo bruiser build. They're not going to have that front line. So assuming that Nanites is able to maintain that spacing, I mean, MKS should have a much better draft in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree. And I do think, like I said, they have to lean towards lethality. It also gives you double Comet in the bot lane for this lane. Of course, Nami offering some amount of sustain, but I think you're right. I think the goal in these team fights is to get a quick pick and turn this into a 4v5, right? Allow Syndra and Varus to kind of play back and get multiple rounds of spells off, while Volibear and Malphite kind of gum up that front line and back line with the Malphite ultimate. TPOK, I think early skirmishes are going to benefit them. I do like the 3v3 bot side for TPOK, and I do like the 2v2 mid, and especially potentially the 3v3 mid jungle top on the side of TPOK. But I am definitely going to be interested to see how some of these lanes play out, as Monkeys will have prio on the bot side, but definitely have prio on this mid side too. And allowing Just Cooper to kind of dictate the pace of this early game is something dangerous to a comp like this, where you really need your gold, you really need your items, and you definitely need your ultimates to fight. I think for us, as we get into this game, it's going to be paying attention to those ultimates.
Yeah, but either way, it is a time. We are going to game number 2 between Monkey Safari and TPO AK. And if Monkeys are able to win this game, like, let's remind ourselves what the stakes are here. This would be to get first in the group, and I believe the loser does have to go against tiebreaker. So every game does matter. Losing 2-1 is much better than losing 2-0 here.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I think TBOK definitely drafting some comfort here, and I like the idea of that, as we see just a little bit of Just Cooper ruining the little dance in the middle. Of course, we see both teams just kind of like 5-pointing, nothing too crazy going on here. But I think, honestly, the first 10, 15 minutes of this is going to be so important. And can, TPO really push the boundaries and the tempo of this game when they see those ultimates come online?
Yeah, I think that's what's going to be important. I mean, the wombo combo potential is always going to be there from TPOK. Malphite definitely could get in the way with that unstoppable force. If it's timed perfectly, I mean, bullet time's not going to do anything. And I do want to point out, it is first strike Misfortune coming out in the bot lane. So kind of really going all in on that big combo. Because a lot of the other time we do see that press the attack. I think if you want some more consistent damage, if you want to do more short trades, that's usually the better one. But if you're just building for the ultimate, you definitely want that first strike. And it looks like that's exactly what they're going to be doing on TPOK.
Yeah, and of course, as we discussed, double Comet in this bot side. I think there's going to be a ton of damage. Already seeing some of that come out, like you said, that Mantra Q and just the poke that we're getting from Nanites. Absolutely, crucial in how they're going to get the push in this bot wave. As we see, even Magmitten's using that Q to help push that wave. Dougie Fresh getting aggressive early, trying to take control of his top side.
Yeah, and I mean, it should be pretty okay for Glub Toughest Weapon here. Did go Doran's Ring first, so that Seismic Shard does deal a lot of damage early on. I should be able to secure some of that early CS, and then later on, we'll just start building armor, as now Nightmare takes a decent amount of damage. The Electrocute proc is going to come through. Nightmare not going to be able to trade it back, not right away anyway. But yeah, pretty slow lane so far. Glove Tempest Weapon is behind a little bit in CS, but should be able to catch it as the wave is close to the tower. But both junglers, they are starting a group near the bottom side. And Wall Street may have been looking for a gank, but instead going to get spotted out by the ward and will just go right back into the jungle.
Absolutely. Of course, both mid laners heavily trading, and we do see Frost coming out with that initial lead. As Wall Street might be looking here, but Frost, doing a good job playing away. Ooh.
Yeah, but the Flag and Drag is going to be up, not going to be able to get the knockup. I was wondering if they were going to go for that flash combo. I think that actually they might have enough damage to burst out Frost if they did go for it, but either way, just going to be able to go to the opposite side. That's where all the camps are anyway for Wall Street, so just kind of buying a little bit of pressure for Nightmare on the way.
Oh, looks like he did miss that cannon. Gonna be zoned off there. The Making It Rain not able to get it there.
Bubble. Not gonna land.
Ooh. Yeah, we should see a good 5-6 CS lead coming out from Nanites here.
But now just Cooper, and this one is not spotted. Just gonna be around and looking for Nightmare, and will even flash in. That's gonna be first blood going over to Frost. And we saw what Frost could do with gold in the previous game. I imagine we'll see something similar there too. As now Orion going to be the next target, getting autoed down a little bit. And Hail of Arrows not going to have enough damage yet. The stacks just were not there from the Blighted Quiver.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we see, again, just kind of really controlling the pace of this bot side. They are going to go ahead and get this wave shoved in. It's not a cannon wave. And then, Nightmare just not respecting the potential for Just Cooper to be there and really just kind of giving it up.
Yeah, we'll just be forced to back off. And one thing I did just think about, because that is the first strike coming out from Orion, typically this means it's going to be more of a lethality build coming out from Misfortune. But that also means that it's not going to be the Bloodthirster in the bot lane. And the Funny Man will be able to heal Orion a little bit. But with the poke that's coming out of Nanites and Mac Middens, I think this is going to be a very difficult bot lane for them, as now Frost is going to be the next target. Flag and Drag is going to get flashed away, but they're still going to be the flash, and they're still going to be chasing. But now Mac Middens is in the area, so it is 2v2. Scout of the Week not going to be able to land this down, but will push Wall Street away. As now Nightmare is going to be rejoining. Support mid versus mid jungle. But it does seem like Monkey Safari are the ones that are going to be able to get the overall win in this, as Flash was burned from Nightmare there as well by Just Cooper.
Yeah, absolutely. Just Cooper doing a great job. And look at the tempo. Wall Street hasn't recalled.
Yeah, and hasn't recalled, but it's still tied in CS. That's just showing that Just Cooper is kind of like really far ahead in terms of that. Has not a full item, but like the major component on the side of that Volley Bear. They could maybe even start thinking about the dragon. They should be able to regain bot prio pretty quickly, as the tier longsword first back for Nanite. So gonna definitely be that lethality Vars and gonna be stacking up that mana. So won't have the damage early on, but should be pretty strong as we head later and later into the game.
And as you said, Serrated Dirt coming out from that MF, of course, confirming somewhat of lethality start. Whether we just see Collector or we see Ghostblade, it's going to be some preference here, I'm sure. We do see a small CS advantage, of course, for Dougie Fresh in the top side. We'll have to see if they're able to kind of get involved and make anything happen with that. Of course, both junglers looking at their second clear, Just Cooper on a much higher tempo, already finishing it up, and then potentially looking for this bot side.
Looking for a fight. Wall Street is in the area. Nanites and Mac Middens, they're the ones that aggress, but Orion taking so much on the return play, but the healing is going to be coming out with the ebb and flow, and there's that combo I was talking about. And Nanites trying to get away and should be able to live HP, but the Funny Man going to be able to get the final kill. I'm not even sure what that was from, but Just Cooper is in the area. Same with Mac Middens, both kind of low, but Flag and Drag is not going to be available. So a kill going over to the Funny Man, and it's 1-for-1 the kill score.
Yeah, absolutely great mechanical, great timing
Frost
there.
Is super low too.
From Wall Street, great pickup, and then, I mean, that really kind of gives you a different angle on this drag without that prio. And like you said, Nightmare navigating this matchup pretty well. He's going to be one wave up, and I think this is a little bit of life from TPOK. They are not going to be taken down so easily. They're going to make this a series as they do kind of gain this small gold lead, about 400 gold up right now.
Yeah, and 400 gold isn't going to make much of a difference, especially when one of the 300 of that gold is a kill that's going over to your support now. Actually, Unstoppable Force going to be using the top side. Just Cooper is in the area. And Gav Dougie Fresh, sorry with the Sky Splitter, should be just going down. One more auto coming out from Just Cooper. And that will seal the deal there. And that just means the matchup is only going to get worse. Malphite definitely scales very well into that matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you see some of these Arborites start to come. The Tabby's already through. It is going to get more and more difficult for this Urgot to get anything done. Of course, you know, the Cole trying to get some scaling in, and of course, I assume we'll see that Black Fever rush, especially going into the Malphite. But again, it's Malphite doesn't really care. You know, he could be down 10 CS, be down 20 CS, and like we said, that Unstoppable Force is just going to be so impactful in team fights, especially on Orion, especially on Nightmare. You know, that's where his true value is going to show.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people just kind of underestimate the raw burst damage that does come out of a Malphite building full tank. The numbers are really, really high in that Unstoppable Force, the Seismic Shard, the Ground Slam. That combo deals a solid 800 or 900 damage at level 6. So, if you go for a gank up top, and especially on a pseudo carry like the Volibear, it just gives money to that jungler to be able to pressure out the rest of the map, as we are going to be seeing a bit of a cross-map trade here for the objectives. Grub's going towards Monkey Safari, but the Dragon has at the very least been started by TPO. Okay, I suspect they will be able to finish it, but Macminids and Nanites, they might be forcing them here for a fight. And Frost and Just Cooper, they're on their way now. The bubble not going to be able to land. Macminids still trying to get away now. Chains of Corruption is spreading, and they have found Nightmare in the backline. Orion's starting to get very low as well. The ball is on Wall Street. They could look for the play, but not going to be able to find it quite yet. Another flash down to Wall Street with the Unleashed power going to be going down. That's also the Feats of Warfare. And now Stormbringer over top as Orion with the bullet time going to be able to trade it back onto Macminids. It is a 1-for-1, and it is one objective each. So pretty even trade overall.
Yeah, I mean, I think great work there. Great timing on that bullet time with Orion to get something back for his team and save his support as well. Yeah, great. Like I said, great trade. Neutral objectives traded, but this is kind of what I'm worried about is they were able to space very well. Ooh, Dougie Fresh taking a really poor trade here. Just gonna have to try to accept this wave under his tower. The Unstoppable Force is off of cooldown, so if he pushes out too far, he's definitely in lethal range here.
Yeah, and that's the shield from the Disdain, but I don't think the mana bar is there for Glove Tough as well. I think if it was, that is a kill. Gav Dougie Fresh sitting on such low HP could definitely get dove underneath the turret. And even if you trade 1-for-1, that's worth it for you on the Malphite, because that would be a pretty big wave missed. But it is going to be TP coming out instead. Glove Top as well, but not going to be able to match it. So we'll just back away and probably do a manual reset as Macminids is getting jumped upon. Cataclysm in the backline as well with the tidal wave. Actually hits onto both. Macminids is going to go down and the bubble lands as well. Nanite's going to get finished off. Double kill going to Wall Street. But now Just Cooper is here looking to trade back. Sky Splitter has already been used, but the Summoner heal coming out of the fighting match just to keep Wall Street alive. And they do get a plate on their way out. And TPOK, they're still not going down. They still want to show that they can take us to a 3-game series.
Absolutely. I think Wall Street doing a good job of like putting pressure on this point. You know, no flash on this bot side. Of course, it is up now. But the no flash is available. Ooh, the shockwave.
Oh, command shockwave. But Frost will just be able to knock them back. But Nightmare doing really well in this matchup, considering Frost already has 2 kills as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to get those incremental advantages where he can. Should be up a couple of minions here. Of course, as Frost does not have TP, not going to be able to get back to this lane as quickly. Yeah, I think this is going to be very interesting to see, you know, as we have a little bit of money in this bot side. Of course, you know, we do see Wall Street 2 kills already. Should be accelerating towards those items as a little bit of fighting on the top side.
Yeah, a decent bit of trading. I don't think either of them can really take each other out from full HP. I think if it's just a clean, consistent fight, Gav Dougie Fresh will win out, but Glove Top as well is going to have the stronger poke, the stronger short trades. So really going to depend how they want to face off there. As now Orion and the Funny Man starting to push in the bot lane. Looked like they were considering just poking down Nanites there, but would be a pretty difficult angle as Wall Street is going to get jumped on. Stormbringer as well, but Flag and Drag back to safety. And now Gav Dougie Fresh kind of in the middle of everyone. Will use the Disdain, but Scatter the Weak is there. Unleash power, and Frost is going to be 3-0 as now Nightmare going to get knocked back by the Blast Cone, but there is another one. So, but no, Nightmare, you went back in. Just Cooper going to pick that kill up. And we were saying so many good things about you. As on the opposite side of the map, the bubble does land, but that should be it for the fighting for now.
Yeah, absolutely unlucky. Of course, great invade there. I think just Dougie Fresh getting a little overzealous, maybe not reading exactly what was happening on that play and how many people were invading there. Of course, getting caught out. And then that unstoppable force, on these carries, that's what we were talking about, is if, Glubus Tuppus Wubble can, find those good angles, especially in those team fights coming up, I think it's going to be tough for TPOK. Of course, that deep ward, giving them some vision, seeing that Wall Street walked in there, great vision placement by Monkeys here, gonna save them from any possibility of getting ganked.
Yeah, and that kind of has been the winning side for TPOK. 103 on Orion, 103 on the Funny Man, and then Wall Street 212 with all of those kills coming from bot lane ganks. So that is definitely where they probably want to try and play, but that's exactly where the vision is being thrown on, as Nightmare is going to get set up. Flag and Drag gonna get knocked out of it, and Nightmare is in the middle of it. Frost is so low, just one more hit, and the auto coming out from Ryan, going to be able to secure it. But now Mac Middens is going to win out over the top. Bullet Time just taking down that support, but it's not going to be able to get the kill. The bubble is going to be there. The Aqua Prison just keeping Orion safe, but Just Cooper is a little bit faster, even with the strut, but the spacing isn't up. And the double up, gonna be able to get the kill on a Mac Middens. Orion showing us how the MF is played. That was the fastest cast Chris I've ever done in my life, but Orion will still be able to survive with that flash. If that piercing arrow landed and Orion went down, just as I said Orion survived, I don't even know what I do with myself. I apologize to Orion, but I mean, that was still a huge play considering how far behind TPOK was at the start of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at the gold lead, they're only down 800 gold. Definitely something that's still playable. They have the first drag. Looking to play on this third drag immediately, knowing Just Cooper has to recall and is low on resources. I think this is a great opportunity to pick that up. But Frost moving in, maybe not willing to give this up so easily.
Yeah, and Unleashed Power is still available, so Frost is a true threat. 1k gold lead above Nightmare, but look at that lead in the bot lane as well. 1.2k in favor of Orion, but now Scout of the Week is going to land onto Nightmare. But with Command Protect, not going to be in execute range from Frost. So we'll be able to back away for now. We'll still be able to farm up in the bot lane, but this game, 400 gold separating these two teams. Feats still haven't been finished either. We're at 50 minutes now. Some of the turrets are starting to get low, but the feed of warfare is on the side of MKS.
It looks like we're going to go ahead and finish this up. Still going to be 2 objectives to 2. However, Shelly going to be a huge option here to help crank down that first tower and get the feeds of warfare over to the side of home.
Yeah, but the Funny Man is going to get tethered up. Nanites is in the area and will use the Chains of Corruption, looking for that extra execution, but still doesn't have all the items yet. But we're seeing just how strong this Lethality Varus can and will end up becoming. And that's just one item. That's literally just the Ghost Blade. That's it.
Yeah, as we suspected, Shelly going to be dropped. Likely going to take over this first tower.
Oh, but Frost in the bot lane will use the Unleashed Power, but will immediately get traded back by Wall Street. Bullet Time in the mid lane, trying to clear out the wave, trying to buy some pressure, but that's still going to be mid-tier 1 going the way of Monkeys. And that is going to be their feats completed, as now the Funny Man looking for the Aqua Prison. Not going to be able to find out Mac Middens. As they could continue just pressing forward. Another piercing arrow over top. Not going to deal too much damage to Orion with that extra shield coming out from the area, but again, just more and more fighting going on, and it's still only 600 gold difference.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, huge pickup there. Though Dougie Fresh may be in some trouble, sensing that he needs to recall quickly and get out, but he's gonna cancel.
Gonna check the brush. Don't go in there. Oh, it's just Mac Middens. We'll be fine for now. Gonna take a little bit of damage from that inner flame, but Just Cooper has backed away. Glubs Tuppus Wubble takes 2 tower shots, so that on its own would stop the dive. But now Just Cooper fighting with a Funny Man and will bring in the Stormbringer, and that's going to be 1 kill going over Orion. Could be the next target. Is very low on mana. Just Cooper not going to be in range. Command Shockwave is on cooldown anyway, so I don't think that would have been a kill. But good pickoff coming out from Monkeys.
Yeah, puts them just about 1,000 gold up there. As Dougie Fresh healing away from this top tower.
Frost is gonna be able to steal out that blue buff, but The Flag and Drag not going to be able to land. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but I think it's best that the Flag and Drag did not come through. It would have definitely been dangerous. But now Command Shockwave is available, so they do have the combo they want. Level 11 on Nightmare as well. So it is a pretty decent power spike for the Orianna. Has that first item. But neither side gonna be starting the engage yet. And considering the range advantage they have on Monkeys, I don't think they even need to try to engage anymore. They can just poke him down and slowly whittle away at him.
Absolutely. I think, Dougie Fresh, like, rotating for his team there, unfortunately, just giving away that top tower for free and just not really equaling up to anything is kind of a big whiff. And like you said, I think, Monkeys are in a great position where they can just try to push out their waves because they've got all these tower advantages and then get to these objectives first. And then, like, having to walk into Syndra and Varus and Malphite just feels really bad. This Fog of War, Unstoppable Force, Fog of War, Chains of Corruptions, Fog of War, Scatter of the Weak is just a really tough way to fight these objectives.
Yeah, I mean, they have so many tools for the engage, for the counter engage, and even peeling off any engage that does come out from TPOK. Especially the Scatter of the Weak. I think that is their strongest tool that kind of makes this team comp doable, as a TP is going to be going over to that bot lane. They're looking for them all for our group together, as Tidal Wave is going to split it up. Bullet time over top. Mac Minutes is going to be forced to flash away, but Orion gonna get hit by the Unstoppable Force. Shockwave lands on it too, but the damage not high enough. It is just 1 for 0. Wall Street, where are you going? Going right back into the fight. Gonna get rooted up and just gonna go down. Nanite's gonna be able to secure that kill as Dougie Fresh is now here. Scatter of the Weak does go wide. That is gonna be on cooldown for a little while. Looking for the execution. Fear beyond death. Gonna land, but the fear lands on it too as well. Aqua Prison finds its way as Nightmare is gonna get the kill on Frost, but Dougie Fresh is underneath the Stormbringer. Will get finished off by the hail of arrows coming out of Nanites. And another piercing arrow just trying to find the poke damage. It is 3 versus 2 right now. Jungler is still alive for Monkeys. And Dragon is spawning at 19. But this could just be part 1 of a 2-part fight.
Yeah, interesting that they're going to continue to pressure here. Not willing to end it or be done with it. But it looks like the fight will kind of finalize here. Although, maybe not. We see Orion and Wall Street both on back to this, as Just Cooper's recalled, so this Dragon is very much still in play.
Yeah, and Shockwave almost back up off cooldown. Same with Cataclysm. So that big combo that they do want to try and get on the side of TPOK is available. And they are going to spot out that Mac Middens did fully recall there. So this might end up going over to TPOK. This is their 3rd Dragon. I mean, this is a potential win condition for them. They are behind 2K. It's at 4K HP. Just Cooper is in the area. It's going to be the 50-50 Sky Splitter over top. But look at that ultimate. Unstoppable Force lands onto 3. Just Cooper going to finish the Dragon. And in the meanwhile, Frost actually going to get taken down. Wall Street still fighting. Dougie Fresh is in the area as Glove Temple Webble trying to take down Orion. Orion is going to go down. Dougie Fresh is alone into 3. Will get finished off on the top side as now we head right back down into this bottom lane. The Aqua Prison, the last of the mana, will keep the Funny Man alive, but they are the only survivor as Monkey Safari. They're going to get the Dragon and the 4 for 1, and we're looking at the exact same fight from game number 1.
Yeah, the Malphite ultimate just so effective at disrupting this Wombo. I mean, so much of it relies on this bullet time Shockwave combo, and when you're both knocked up, when this Malphite's in your face, it's really hard to get that done. And, you do see Wall Street going for this a little bit more carry build, building the Eclipse into Thunder Sky, which, again, is not bad. And I think, realistically, the way these games are fighting out is probably benefiting them so that he actually has some kill pressure on Frost. But, the struggle here is this Malphite just disrupts this back line of TPOK every time there's a fight.
Yeah, and they have been able to trade back on a Frost in a lot of these fights. Mac Middens going down as well there. But that's usually after Frost has already used a full combo. And once the Syndra uses it, I mean, yeah, it's shortish cooldowns on Dark Sphere and all the other abilities, but once the Unleashed Power is used, the Syndra already did her job. Like, you don't need Syndra to do anything else, realistically. And in return, they lose all of their carries. And there's still Just Cooper, there's still Nanites just hitting over top of everything. And I think that's where TPOK is really struggling. They can only take down one person at a time with their combo. They need to try and find more. But as they say that the Otacon is going to get pulled by Monkeys, they get it down to about half HP. But now that they see TPOK approaching, they don't want this fight. They want to try and sneak it away. So they're just going to back out. And I think that is the smart call. They don't need to force any kind of play,
Oh my
especially when your
gosh.
top laner is able to get the solo bolo. As let's take a look at how this did happen. Seismic Shard just going to land it.
He's
Glove
so
Tub
ahead.
as well, but just kind of outstanding there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think if you're MKS, Monkeys did a great job of like, hey, how do we win these fights? Oh, Malphite disruption. Oh, what don't we have? Malphite. Okay, cool. So they're like peeling off from these fights, recognizing the way they win them just isn't there, and still getting advantage. Of course, we see objective bounties active now for TPOK. And yeah, I mean, I think that was a great call. I think we saw way too many. You look at MSI, we had so many flips around this Otacon. So many teams that were ahead just getting flipped on because of the reduction, because of all the damage that Otacon does. So I think it's a great call from Monkeys. I think a lot of teams don't get enough credit when they call off plays versus when they call plays. So I think it's a great call from them.
Yeah, but they are going to get right back onto the Otacon. And they cleared most of the vision, but there is still one ward right on the Otacon. So this is being spotted out by TPOK. Is now Just Cooper over the wall, has the Sky Splitters. Not going to be using that Stormbringer yet.
Oh,
Dragon's still spawning in 2 seconds, but now they're looking over onto Nanites. Going to get hit by the Tidal Wave. Bullet time slightly at range. Nanites will get finished off by the Dragon Strike. Now Just Cooper. And when the Shockwave lands on a 2, do they have the damage? Frost is going to go down. Orion with a double up. Going to be able to find that little bit of extra damage that they needed. And all of a sudden, it's a 2-0 for TPOK. Just Cooper looking for the blue buff is a little bit low. Wall Street is in the area. Flag and Drag over top, going to be able to get the knockup. And now they're fighting, but the help coming out. Fear beyond death. Gav Dougie Fresh going to be able to secure that shutdown. And we have a game, because that should also be the Otacon going to TPOK. And that should basically completely negate this gold lead that Monkeys have built up.
Absolutely. We see the objectives going away. And this is what we talked about. Malphite wasn't there. You have no way to get on the backline and disrupt. And therefore, TPOK execute their strategy and get some damage here.
Yeah,
we
but
do see this
Malphite is here
force.
now. They could look for another fight afterwards. They're still looking for it. They have the extra move speed coming through. And Frost did TP in, but they were just too fast to take it, so no follow-up is going to be available. But Monkeys could still try to threaten this bot lane, but they're just trying to get something out of this play.
Absolutely. The one thing you do got to be careful about, of course, TPOK, great play, great pickup from them, but they are going to have zero control of this jungle, zero priority in the bot and the mid wave when this dragon comes up. So I think, unfortunately, you just have to give this dragon away and look for another angle. Get your waves pushed out, get some vision control on this top side so that you can approach Baron and go from there. But don't face check this brush, guys. Don't do it.
If they're smart enough not to go for this dragon, I think that's fine. Because they already have 2. They're not worried about the stacking coming out of Monkeys yet. So they can't afford to just give up this one objective. They will just get on one of the bushes. Oh, the fog. They're just playing with us. But they are starting to group towards the mid lane. But they are going to get spotted out by the minion wave. So Ryan and Funnyman should be able to see this. As actually, with the Aqua Prison, going to try and delay a little bit more. The blue buff is getting started up by Wall Street. And they're actually pinging the Baron on the side of Monkeys. Now, that would be a really interesting play if they do go for it, but it looks like it's just going to be the crab, and then they're going to back right back to the dragon, and it still should be theirs with the vision control they have in the bot lane.
Absolutely, and I think if you're TPOK, you take what you just got. You got the gold lead a little closer. You've got, MF a little bit more money. You got your top laner some money. He's only down 600 gold. You have junglers fairly even. Your mid lane's down 3k gold. Of course, all the gold given out here, Nanite's still basically slightly ahead, on this MF. It's just very even gold distribution. But again, bide your time, get your item spikes. Don't force.
Unstoppable Force lands on a 2 in the back line, and the Funny Man with the Tidal Wave gonna be alive for now, but Just Cooper's in the area, and Glove Tub as well, but gonna be able to get that kill. Nightmare getting run down, Sky Splitter over top. One more auto, and Just Cooper will be able to secure that, and Baron is up. That's going to be a 2-0 as Baron is available right in front of the pit. So they're just going to turn around and get that big purple worm.
Absolutely. And again, we talked about it. Malphite, just not a good way for this team to deal with this Malphite, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, that's the truth of it. Nightmare, their only magic damage. And right now, Globstop Swapple has 0 MR. Hasn't bought a single shred of it. But your Nightmare's 1/6. The damage just isn't going to be there. It's just Cooper kind of walks a little bit of a split fight right now. But now the Cataclysm not going to be in range. But Fear Beyond Death will be there, helping to peel for Orion. Sky Splitter over top will get hit back with a disdain. But Orion's still getting DPS. The 80 carry life gonna get taken down. Wall Street will avenge Orion. But it's still gonna be a 2-for-1. So TPOK can take at least some of these Baron buffs off the map.
They looked for something afterwards, you know, as they see recalls go through. Anybody who was a straggler or stuck behind, I think it's a good look from TPOK. And you know, I do like, I kind of like the Ori build in the theme of the team comp, right? I think traditionally Storm Surge kind of meh on Ori, but I do like kind of their thought of, hey, we have to wombo this and like instantly delete somebody, right? We have to take somebody completely on the map to win these fights. You know, especially with Malphite, I think as Ori, like you may get to press your button once and be done, right? You may not get these multiple rotations of spells, and I think we're seeing that in that build. Ludens into Storm Surge really pushing for that instant combo, which I do like. And like you said, no MR coming out yet, but does look like what will likely be Unending Despair. A little bit of MR, excuse me, following up here from Glubtub's Wupus. As Wall Street, I mean, doing a much better job this game, I think, with helping with the tempo and being able to make plays for his team. And we do see that Jarvan start pushing towards these defensive items like Spirit Visage.
Yeah, I mean, Monkeys definitely have the lead right now, especially after that Baron play, but this is a much closer game than game number 1 was. It's definitely still possible for TPOK to come back. We've seen how much damage their Wombo can deal if it's well placed, and they have options. They don't need to throw everything in one go. They can do a lot of different combos as Wall Street. I assume we'll be okay with the Flag and Drag available near the wall. It's just kind of trying to finish off that camp before a Glubtub as well could prevent it. But they are going to siege a little bit of mid lane, but without any of these waves synced up, it should be cleared pretty easily by TPOK. Still a minute left on the Baron, so 1 or 2 more waves, and that's going to be it. So let's see if Monkeys can actually get anything out of this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think even, honestly, even just this pressure and choking out the jungle camps and getting all this vision, I mean, alone is going to be some great pressure. Of course, we do see a little bit of fighting in the top lane, but Glubtub is just so tanky, not able to.
But now
really...
in the backline, Wall Street has a very good flank. Nightmare's in the area, and now the Cataclysm not going to get thrown out quite yet. So Waiting will be able to find its way, and they're just going to take down Nanites. Everything burned to take down this Varus. But in the meanwhile, Wall Street still fighting in the back line. Has the help from Nightmare. It's 2 versus 2. Just Cooper still standing in the front line, trying to get a little bit of damage done. Mac Middens helping kite this back. But they are still going to lose their mid lane tier 3. And all that just for 1 kill. But actually, Glubtub Wupel is in the area. Has the Unstoppable Force ready. But they're going to respect it this time on TPOK. So no follow-up going to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's great that, you know, I think at this point you're losing something anyway, right? With this Baron push and everything that's going on. So I think getting anything out of it is great. So anything that you can trade is going to be great here as we see Wall Street just kind of sitting, maybe thinking something can happen, but going to get spotted out with that.
Yeah, just trying to look for angles. And I like that they are looking for those angles because they're not just going to roll over. They're not just going to say, you know what, we did our best. They're going to continue trying to do their best. As now Wall Street could be walking into this death brush. Has the shield and will spot out all 3. Demacian Standard, very good to be able to scout this out. We'll be able to see them crossing over towards that river as well. And Wall Street actually decently tanky now. Frost has been...
Spirit Visage doing a good job.
Yeah, and just the ball from the Command Protect, giving those extra defensive stats as well. They do have that frontliner, and I was a bit worried about that earlier on when we were talking about the draft, but the Dragon is going to be spawning now. Sky Splitter over top, and now Wall Street is going to get set up, but will buffer that Flag and Drag. But still going to get taken down to below half HP. The Funny Man will be able to heal it a little bit with a weapon flow. As I'm just watching this Malphite right now because the Unstoppable Force decides these fights. But now they're looking onto Frost instead. But the Zanya is going to prevent the Wombo. As Shockwave has already been used as well. Now Stormbreaker into the top lane. Glubtub as well, finding its way out of 3. But it's not going to be enough. Wall Street in the background trying to take down Frost. Won't have the damage. Frost will be able to flash away to safety. And somehow it's only a 1-for-0. But Monkeys with the 3rd Mountain Drake. They are tanking it up as it is on the Malphite. Imagine adding even more stats on top of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the Zonia is an absolutely wonderful buy by Frost, buying so much time for his team. Nanite's on the side, requiring the flashes to dodge Chain of Corruption. Then the Unstoppable Force following up from Glove Tub as well. I mean, like I said, you take out Frost and Nanites, or honestly, you just take out Frost, right? And you take out Nightmare and Orion. Like, there's actually very little damage on this rift. Like, it is a very low damage rift. And like you said, I think these stacking Mountain Drakes are really, really effective. Um, just going to make this game much harder, and this wombo combo just much harder to pull off.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at these items coming out from TPOK, they're definitely just going full into this. You already talked about Nightmare's build, but Orion also going the Serpent's Fang third item, just trying to prevent that Mantra Inspire from having as much effect as possible. I mean, if they do find a good angle with it, they definitely win the fight. But right now, Monkey's just not giving them any angles at all to play around that. And I mean, with the next dragon spawning in 4 minutes, that could be soul. And once it gets soul, it's just going to get that much harder. So TPOK, they're really on a timer now.
Yeah, absolutely. This last dragon going to be absolutely critical. Of course, Baron also up. We have almost just shy of 4 minutes before this next dragon. A lot can happen between now and then. And I'm interested when we get to this break point, hopefully now or soon, where this Urgot can start to match and kind of be a little more effective as Wall Street going to flag and drag his way out of there. Not wanting to start off anything without his team, but this Malphite continuing to just apply so much real pressure into the Urgot.
Yeah, and I mean, at some point, the Urgot just cannot walk into that lane at all. I mean, Glub Tuppus Wobble can just clear out the wave and then roam. And Gav Dougie Fresh could not walk into it because at this point, even those longer exchanges will favor the Malphite. In the early lane phase, it's going to favor the Urgot, but right now, with all the armor stacking, with the Jack Show, with the Thornmail, the empowered plated steel caps, the full version of them just going to be coming out. There's no damage on Gav Dougie Fresh to deal with this Malphite, even with the Black Cleaver. But now, a fight could be breaking out. There's really no objective to fight for in this side of the river, so yeah, gonna be smart to watch Monkeys just backing away because Baron is the main objective right now on the map. They're setting up a bit of a death brush. Could look for a play, but neither side really wants to pull the trigger. Neither side really can with the positioning that's happening right now. But Monkeys, they do have the inner track. They're looking towards Wall Street now, and Wall Street gonna be the first one hit down. But they're still not fully pulling the trigger. But now in the back line with the Cataclysm, they're going to take down Mac Minutes with a Shockwave. But Orion getting run down by the Malphite. And Unstoppable Force has already been used. So it's just going to be both dives, seeing who's going to be stronger. Glub Tuppus Webble dealing so much damage. Now the Stormbreaker onto the Funny Man. The Funny Man, one more auto, will get taken down. Frost will go golden, will survive. Wall Street actually looking for the kill back. One more auto is needed, but it's not going to be there. Double kill gonna come out for Glub Tuppus Wepple. And Gav Dougie Fresh, the only survivor, but it's a 4-for-0 trade in favor of Monkeys as Glub Tuppus Wepple still gonna be chasing forward. And now Ryan is gonna be here. And this Malphite is alone. Could have gone a little bit too deep, but we'll just be able to walk it off. Rock Solid does not care.
Yeah, absolutely. That looked so good initially. That initial burst and kill looked so great, but unfortunately, just once they used it, no more damage to follow up with, and Orion just completely zoned away, dealing with the Malphite, and just made it impossible for that fight to go. And unfortunately, I think this Malphite, this game is just kind of a Malphite game, and I think, great shout out to coaching staff on Monkeys, and I think they've made this game, very difficult for TPOK to navigate.
And now the Baron buff is going to be up for Monkeys, and the Dragon Soul, potentially anyway, is spawning in just 45 seconds. Monkeys definitely going to want to get a piece of that. The Soul is really going to lower the amount of value coming out from the Wombo, and we saw the damage the Wall Street Nightmare together are able to just throw out. Because Mac Minton's going to be the target again, going to get hit into the back line, and will get hit by the Fear Beyond Death, but Gav Dougie Fresh could be traded backwards. Oh, look at the damage coming out, and now Chain of Corruption lands as Wall Street is still in the backline. Bullet time, buying some space as Frost will get taken down by the green smite, but in the meanwhile, Just Cooper able to take down Nightmare. And now Gav Dougie Fresh gonna be the next target but just Cooper not going to be able to chase them down. As meanwhile, there's still more fighting in the backline. Wall Street trying to find an angle, trying to find a play. Nanites is very low. Piercing arrow just over top, not going to be able to land, as they have left their Malphite behind. Just Cooper. This is a hectic fight. Both sides just going left, right, up, down. No one knows which way's up, as now they're finally going to reset. It was a 2-for-1 in favor of TPOK. The Dragon is up, but neither one really feels confident to go for it. And as we say, the Wall Street's still going to be going in with the Flag and Drag, looking towards Just Cooper. But with the health coming out of Sky, Splitter should be all right. But now the Disdain, they're able to find the jungler. Just Cooper will go golden, but will still get shut down by Gav Dougie Fresh. So this should be the Dragon going over to TPOK. They have the root, and it looks like they are done with this. They are not going to contest it. It's not going to be sold for TPOK, but they will be able to keep that objective from the hands of Monkeys for 5 more minutes. And now they themselves might end up on Soul Point. As I say that, Monkeys, they may try to contest it anyway. And it is going to be Wall Street securing it, as now they're looking for the fight. Wall Street gonna jump right back in. Frost gonna go golden. Command Shockwave is still available, looking for the play, but they're able to take down Wall Street. Frost has more than enough damage. Unstoppable Force has been used, so they're not gonna be able to chase with that. And again, this fight just never ends. Nightmare gonna be the next one, getting pierced by the arrow. Frost will get the final shot with Dark Sphere, and now it's a 2-for-1 with Just Cooper in the end. But Gav Dougie Fresh gonna be able to get the Fear Beyond Death, will find Frost, and Frost will be the first one to be back there. And I think that's it. That might have been the longest team fight I've ever casted in my entire life. There's so many respawns, but in the end, I think TPOK are the ones that come out on top.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a ton of chaos here. TPOK doing the best they can. Wall Street absolutely running and terrorizing this backline of Monkeys here. You know, Frost playing so well and timing these Zonias so much, but just not enough to happen. The Unstoppable Force still such, and like you said, watching this Malphite, like, it's kind of the most impactful thing we're seeing in these fights, and it even allowed them. But we've got 5 minutes. This gold lead, you know, the later this game goes, the less and less that gold lead means. And as we're really starting to see it, all these 4th and 5th items are coming online for everybody. And I think it's going to come down to these execution in these team fights as the game goes on.
Yeah, we are starting to get to the late game. There's a 4K difference, but that doesn't matter. Everyone has their core item builds. It's all about the positioning. It's all about who's able to find the engage first and which engage. If it's good enough, that on its own could just clean up the game. But, I mean, it's going to be difficult. Next objective going to be the Baron spawning up in 2 minutes. So we are going to have the LS 5 minutes of doom waiting for the objectives to come back up. Neither side really going to be trying to press anything forward. There's still the tier 1 turret available for Monkeys in the mid lane. And I think that's giving them such a good vantage point to kind of play around that. It's difficult for TPOK to get priority in the river.
Yeah, absolutely. Maintaining that tier 1 tower is absolutely huge. Wall Street.
I like how we're both looking. That's kind of been the theme of this game too. Wall Street is going to be diving the back line on MKS, and Glub is going to be diving the back line of TPOK. That's what this entire game's been. Who's going to be able to dive better? And so far it has been Monkeys, but it's definitely been close. And look at that. They're trying to poke onto this Malphite, and they're almost able to break the shield. I mean, that's not what you want to see when you're the one that's, you know, trying to win the game, not lose it.
Yeah, absolutely. This Malphite is an absolute wall in front of them. As we do see Wall Street on the bot side of this map here, so be very careful. This could be a very effective push from Monkeys, as they are in a potential 5.
Yeah, Scout of the Week is going to find its way onto Gav Dougie Fresh, and starting to get very low. Command Protect is going to be there, but Gav Dougie Fresh definitely going to be forced to reset down to around 1/4 HP. The ball buying some space, but Nightmare just scared to walk forward, and it is dangerous with the Malphite available. But now Wall Street has the ball over top, but Unstoppable Force in the back line, and they're going to be able to take down the support, but Frost is going to go golden in the Cataclysm. Stormbringer over top, but the Shockwave will take down Frost, and now it's 4 versus 4. Chains of Corruption lands on a Gav Dougie Fresh, but the follow-up is not going to land. Wall Street still chasing going back minutes, but Gav Dougie Fresh is going to be the first one to go down. And now everything's starting to fall apart. Monkeys looking to end this game. They've taken out 4. Nightmare, the last survivor, and will continue to survive for now. They got the top lane inhib. They could go for the mid lane, or they could go for the end. And right now, they're looking onto this Nexus as Nightmare still trying to poke them down. They are low on the side of Monkeys, but Shockwave isn't going to be up for another 20-ish seconds. They have the fight on Nexus shirt. They're looking for the end.
Oh.
Just Cooper is going to go down, but now Nightmare is getting run down by Nanites. Nanites trying to get it, but Nanites actually going to be going for the Nexus instead. Nightmare will get the shutdown. Mac Minutes is the final survivor, will be forced to turn tail and run away. They live another day, but now Glove Top is Swivel. Let's see this tank test. This is where it all comes through. Ensemble forced to get onto the Nexus. Go, Malphite, go, Malphite, go, Malphite with a Shockwave. Pulling Glove away from the Nexus. A couple more hits. TP from Frost. Monkeys, they just want to end it, and they will. It's a 2-0 victory. They're able to take this in. What is the craziest Nexus take since Xpeke? Is that a tall claim? Yes, I don't care. That's how I feel.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the Malphite there just going to show how that entire game was, right? The Malphite is an unstoppable wall, causing so many problems for the backline of this team, and I just absolutely dominant there. I mean, I think from a draft perspective, Coach well played. I think Frost played very, very well. I think Just Cooper played very well. I think they did a great job of trying to put Nanites behind, but guess what? It didn't matter. They didn't care. They just continued to move forward. Just the low damage side of you know, this team. I mean, unfortunately, especially going the lethality variant on MF here, you just really have no way to get through this Malphite ever. Let alone even the Volibear that you struggled to get through that entire time. You know, the Zonias on Volibear, I absolutely love this build, the more bruiser-y type build with Sundered Sky, and of course that Zonia is just absolutely great. Shout out to Monkeys here, securing and locking in that #1 seed here in Group A. Going to be a great position for them too as we get into playoffs. Shout out to Frost. You can make some content about your game today. I'll read it. We'll go from there. But great work to Monkeys. And you know what? TPO, I think you guys have got some things to re-examine, and you still get a shot here in playoffs. Hopefully as the 2nd seed, but we'll see where tiebreakers stand.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. I mean, there's a very solid chance we'll be able to see this exact same series again. Because, I mean, yes, they got 2-0'd, but TPO AK, they looked really strong too. Maybe not in that game #1, but in game 2, I feel like a big part of that was just they fell out of damage in the end. That's it. But they still kept it close. They basically had to play knowing they could never take down this Malphite, and they were still making it work for the longest time. I mean, Nightmare almost pulled off the incredible defense at the end, but Teleport, very, very powerful summoner spell. Going to be able to let them win the game, but you asked me this in game #1, so I'm going to ask you at this time. Just going to throw it right back at you. Who do you think is the MVP of game 2?
I'll be honest. I think it probably has to be. It's a little tough. So I think my gut instinct is just to say Glove Tub as well, because like this Malphite completely disrupted this entire game. In every team fight, you managed, you know, the first part of your lane that was bad for you against Urgot. Well, you actually got a solo kill against the Urgot later in the game. And I think top laners don't get enough love. So you know what? I think my MVP has to be the Malphite. Glove Tub as well. Great work, and definitely you know, a wall for your team in that game.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely agree. And one big thing we always talk about is kill participation. And the top lane is notorious for having low KP.
Not this game.
22 out of 31 kills.
Almost
Glove
70%.
Toughest Swap has been a part of that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's ridiculously high. The only one above him is going to be that jungler, Just Cooper, and only 24 to 22. Like, that's very comparable. Support is at 15. I mean, I think Glove played an amazing game. Now, obviously, the draft helped a lot. This was just a perfect Malphite game. I don't think you could ask for a better draft to play Malphite in, but you still got to be able to pilot it to get it to its full effectiveness, and I think Glove did.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. And I think, like I said, we'll just have to see what TPOK does and how they adjust going into playoffs. And as for Monkeys, enjoy your victory. Enjoy that #1 seed. And we'll see you when playoffs roll around.
Yeah, try not to party too hard tonight, but we will be back next week because this was the last of the regular season. Now we're heading into playoffs. This is where things are going to get a lot more fun. I believe we also have qualifiers here. Don't quote me on that. I always forget what the format is. But either way, it's going to be a ton of fun to watch. We're going to have the best of the Divinity League coming up in the next few weeks. Now, we are going to be done for today. My name was Tokibi. Joining me was Leslie. And this was an absolute pleasure to cast. I think this is the best way to end off the regular season. So thanks all for joining us. Thanks for watching. And hopefully we'll see you soon. Bye-bye now.